All right, so relationships are on my heart today. I don't know why, but it is, and I want to talk about it with you. So let's talk about relationships. I'm gonna freestyle it, no notes, just come off the top of my head, see what comes out of my heart, and we'll roll with it. All right. So when you're talking about relationships, specifically intimate relationships, the first thing you want to know is you're dealing with humans, human beings. Now, what does that mean? Human beings are imperfect vessels. That's what we are. We're imperfect. We make mistakes. We jump to conclusions. We say things we don't mean because of emotions. Basically, we're subject to error. So, what that means is you can't expect perfection from an imperfect human. Know that before you go into a relationship, you're entering into it with an imperfect person. So that's the first thing. Intimate relationships, you got a human. Second thing, you got humans. Now we move to how compatible are we? Look for compatibility. The last thing you want to look for is the first thing that usually draws you into the person. I said, I don't know if I said that right. The last thing, the last thing you want to place high value on is usually the first thing that draws us to the opposite person, the opposite partner, the partner. And that is their physical appearance. Physical appearance should be down here somewhere. But obviously it's the first thing we see because we become attracted by what we see in the other person. So to me, the first thing that you should look for is compatibility. Compatibility. Compatibility is how well you sync. How in sync are you? How do you get along? How do your values match? How well do both of you communicate? Basically, the rule is this person your best friend? If this person is your best friend, if you guys get along, now it doesn't mean that you're going to be 100% compatible. It doesn't mean that the other person is going to match you perfectly or mirror your likes and dislikes perfectly, because every person is their own person. Every person is their own being. Everybody has their own background, their own life history, their own family. And when you come together with another human being, you're merging those life histories together. You're trying to, that's what dating is. You're trying to see how compatible you are. You're trying to see how you make choices separate and together. You're trying to see how much you relate to each other. How do you view the world? Get inside the person's head, get inside the person's heart. Also, how do you deal with conflict? Very important. How a person deals with conflict is going to spill over how the person deals with anything, whether they're happy, sad, angry, ecstatic, stressed. All that spills over into the intimate relationship with you. So dating is the time where you check those things out. You ask questions. You experience things together. You experience hardships together, the natural hardships of life. You experience those things together. You get their reaction. You kind of gauge their reaction. You talk about what you don't like, what you do like. You talk about sex. You have sex. You figure these things out. So you want to see if you're compatible long term. That's what the dating period is for, is to check compatibility. But I wanted to point out the looks, the physical appearance part, because you don't want to get caught up in that. Just because you like physically how a person looks doesn't mean you're compatible with them long term. It may be you're good for a fling or something like that, but not for relationships. What you need for a good time is not the same characteristics you need for a long-term, intimate, happy, fulfilling relationship. Human, the person is a human. You're compatible. Character. Character. So character is who the person is when no one's looking. Character is how the person's words match up with their actions. You know how it's called. You could say it's oneness between words and action. How do those match? A person with character is a trustworthy person. A trustworthy person is a person you can count on, a person you can intelligently commit to, a person you want to share your life with long term. This is a person that you can depend on when things get rough. They can be there for you when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're stressed, whatever it is. They're not gonna act different behind your back than they would in front of your face. Now, of course, people are human, so they will make mistakes sometimes. That doesn't mean you don't need to be perfect to have character, but the person does need to be working on it at all times and putting the best foot forward. And also, you can test someone's character not by how many mistakes they make, but how they make amends for those mistakes. So if they make a mistake, a characteristic of a person with character, a trait of a person with character, is they will apologize, genuinely apologize. They will try to make amends if they did something to hurt or harm you. They will maybe even explain why they did it. You know, try to really, open up their heart to you and like, man, I really didn't mean to do that. This is what I was thinking. I was hurt. I acted out of emotion. Blah blah blah. You know, like people with character are not perfect, but they won't keep making mistakes, the same mistakes over and over and over. They'll be quick to apologize and make amends and to not do those things again. That's a person of character. That's a person you can trust, and that's a person you want to grow with long term in a relationship. Hold on a second. Buddy, look at the camera. I'm making this video for you, buddy. You say hi? You say hi, buddy? You say hi? Boop, 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 boop. You say hi? You just woke up from the nap? You just woke up from a nap, buddy? Boop, 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 boop. All right, so I'm talking about relationships, buddy. Intimate relationships. And what to think about when you're approaching those in life, thinking about those, trying to decide, should you go further than dating a person, or what are you doing, buddy? You want this? So another one is self-awareness. So self-awareness is a trait that is usually developed over time with maturity and is strengthened through conscious personal development. So what I mean by that is, first, self-awareness is how much you know yourself, how the person knows themselves. How much do they know their likes, their dislikes, their wants, their needs, their desires, their bad habits, their tendencies. You know, how much do they know about their goals? What are their goals in life? What are their spiritual goals, career goals, health goals, mental goals? All these type things matter, and they form the basis of a person's level of self-awareness. So somebody who is not self-aware, it literally means they do not know who they are as a person. If you enter in a relationship with somebody who does not know themselves, you are entering a relationship with a person that's going to pull you down. They're going to be a deficit. They're going to be, that doesn't mean they're not a great person, and they may be great for someone else and all that, but I will have to hinder you. I will have to caution you about entering a relationship with someone who has low self-awareness, because they don't know themselves. So how can they know you? How can they know, how can you move forward with someone who does not know themselves? Now, it doesn't mean, self-awareness is a ever-growing character trait. It's an ever-growing capacity, intellectual capacity of the person. You never have everything figured out. So self-awareness doesn't need to be 100%, but a person should have a basic, self-awareness is a sign of maturity. Self-awareness is a sign of someone who does inner work. Self-awareness is a sign of someone who does personal development, who examines themselves, who thinks critically, who cares enough to ask tough questions. This is a person, tough questions of themselves. This is a person who has self-awareness. How to know if someone has self-awareness? It means conversation. You ask questions. Hey, buddy. What's up? What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? You ask questions. So you know, when you go on dates, ask them their goals. When I go on dates with somebody, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell them my goals. I want to know their goals and see how compatible those are. Your goals have to be in sync. If not, there's no point in wasting time and moving forward. Those goals are incompatible. It's highly unlikely that the relationship will work. It's going to cause us stress. It's going to probably waste our time, and it's not going to be good for our mental health. When we can get with somebody that's more compatible to those goals, or we can come together at a different phase in our life where our goals are more compatible at that specific time. But right now, it's probably not going to work. This self-awareness saves you so much. Self-awareness in the beginning saves you long-term trouble in the end. Hey. 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 So what we got? We got everybody's a human. We got look for compatibility. This is not really a trait. This is more of the baseline. That's more of the baseline to all relationships. It's the foundational tenet, the foundational belief of intimate relationships. Really of all relationships, not just intimate ones between you and your partner, but all relationships, because every relationship is between you, human being, and somebody else who's a human. So obviously that should be the foundational belief that you take into a relationship. Everybody's human. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. How can we make this work? Then you go to compatibility. Then you talk about character. Then you look for character, a trustworthy person. Then you want to think about self-awareness. And last one is one I alluded to earlier, which is number 5, which is you can put attractiveness, overall attractiveness, or a physical appearance. Put that in. Hey, buddy. Physical appearance. So I said earlier that the first thing that draws you in is the last thing you should look for. And I said this because you can get caught up in the physical appearance, in the initial infatuation with the person, and that can ruin your life because you get attached to this wrong person forever. You have a kid by them. You get caught up in just feelings based on emotions that are tied to your sexual energy versus things that are more long term, like trust, like character, awareness, self-awareness, and long-term compatibility. So it's not to minimize physical appearance, because physical appearance is very important to a long-term relationship, but that shouldn't be first. To be fulfilled long-term, you want to be attracted to the partner you're with. Now this means you may... What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? Oh, he's hungry. You hungry, buddy? You hungry?